So you could be in the industry or the profession now for 10 years. You could just be starting out. You could have been around for 50 years and you've pretty much seen everything. Although I think in today's day and age, there's lots happening that we like, where did that come from? But one thing that is really becoming evident, through all the work that we do and the people that we talk to, etc., is that sometimes we find ourselves that things are just not moving to where we want it to go. Or sometimes, it moved, but we don't really know why it moved. And it might be a good or a bad thing. But it's really important to understand that, depending on where you are in your journey, your value proposition will be different, right, to clients. And not only that, you'll probably have multiple value propositions because you'll be serving multiple segments of clients. Be it one, if you just focus on one segment, or 5 or 6 or even more sometimes. But that's really the thing. And in today's episode, I'm going to really talk about and unpack a little bit about, what should your value proposition probably be focusing on depending on where you find yourself in your journey. So we're going to look at value for everybody. It doesn't matter whether you're new or whether you're here for 50 years or anything in between. We've got something that can help you move the needle forward. And thank you very much for joining us. Let's get the show on the road. Good morning. Let me up the energy because I feel the camera is draining my energy this morning. Warm welcome to PROpulsion Live, episode 2. Really excited for today. I thought a lot about, for those episodes where I'm not interviewing somebody, like what am I going to talk about this year? And there's always this picture around what a financial planning practice looks like. And I just thought to myself, let's just, sort of see if the theme for this year is explore. Let's explore different aspects of the different components of a financial planning practice. And the very first one is obviously value creation or value propositions. If we don't have value to offer to specific people, then you don't even have a business. Doesn't matter what else you want to do. So we've got to be clear. And I know, that one of the biggest challenges, always like explaining your value is really difficult. So not going to get too much into explaining your value today. For me, today is more a little bit about, if you're new, this is probably what your value proposition should be focused on. If you've been around for 5 years or longer, this is what it should be. And if you've been around for a long time, then probably this is where it should have evolved to. Because the fact of the matter is that your value proposition cannot stay the same throughout. And it's not only just because client expectations are changing and because technology is changing and all of those good things. It is just that you are growing, your business is growing, your clients are growing with you. And so then should your value proposition. We're going to get a little bit more into that today. But really happy we have Nici and Lelané. I've now renamed them. Like last week they said they double trouble. I think they trouble double. So they back today with the current affairs and the latest news. So thank you very much. Looking forward to hearing what's been cooking this last week and what's happening next week probably. And then also we have a brand new segment today. And it is called Money, Meaning and Beyond. And I'm thrilled to welcome Rudolf Geldenhuys to the show, and he's going to be running this segment every 4 weeks. So thank you very much, Rudolf. Looking forward to learn a little bit more about your segment later. And then Kobus is back with the Advisor's Path. He is on the road, as we all know. If Kobus is at home, we wonder what is wrong. So he is working from anywhere. He will tell you more, and maybe you can guess where he is. But he's going to be talking about the power of a strong value proposition in the digital age, which obviously fits in nicely into what we're going to be talking about, some quick announcements, and then we'll talk about the main reason why we're here, the main topic. So let me say a warm good morning quickly. If you haven't yet, please say hi in the chat and participate and engage and share your opinions and talk to the other people that are here watching live with us. It's fantastic when people show up live, so I want to thank you really from the bottom of my heart for joining us live, 8 o'clock on a Friday. Love it. And if you're watching the recording, we love you too, so don't stress. Really love you, and thank you very much for also participating. Right, so good morning, Mr. Terence Tobin in the house first. Love the smile there. Ben, good morning. Nice to see you as well. The early bird does catch the worm, and that is Terence. It's usually between Terence and Kobus, but Kobus have been slacking the last few weeks or months. Terence has been beating him consistently. So, yeah. Cindy, good morning from a glorious Cape Town. It's absolutely beautiful today. Good morning, Frank Agliotti, saying, dear friends and trusted financial advisory professionals, keep making a difference. Love you lots, Frank. Thank you so much. Lihana, good morning. Nice to see you as well. Arun, good morning from a warm, sunny Paul. I don't think Paul is ever not warm. But good morning and welcome. Steve, nice to see you. Happy Valentine's Day. Yes, I've got my nice red shirt on this morning. Manette, goeiemorgen. Nice to see you. David, good morning. Nice to see you as well. Willem Bester, goeiemorgen. Nice to see you. Thanks for saying hi. Did I show your name, Willem? I'm sorry. There you go. Good morning. Carl, good morning from a beautiful Boksburg. Okay, fantastic. Welcome. Mary, good morning. Nice to see you as well. Mark, wow, Marky, it's been a while from all the way from Australia. Nice to see you. I hope you're doing fantastically well. And Juanita, good morning. Nice to see you. Thanks for saying hi. Albert, good morning. Goeiemorgen. Nice to see you. Sireta, goeiemorgen. Ezra, goeiemorgen. Nice to see you as well. Howdy. Mariska, good morning. Nice to see you as well. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for your kind comments on LinkedIn the other day. And Elna, happy Valentine's Day and a good morning, everyone. Ladies and gents, it's time to get the show on the road, which is my favorite part. Here is Trouble Double. Let's just be more professional. This is the FBI. Here's Lelané and Nici with the latest news brought to you by the Financial Planning Institute of Southern Africa. Thanks so much.
Morning, everybody. Apparently, we are trouble double now. I don't know who's trouble and who's double.
I'm still double, you're still trouble.
In all, let's get going here. This week, there was a FIC update. So the Financial Intelligence Center published a new guidance note, 7A, which offers accountable institutions guidance on compliance with the Risk Management and Compliance Program requirements. That is provided for in Section 42 of the FIC Act. And this guidance note replaced Chapter 4 of Guidance Note 7. It has been updated to provide further guidance to boards of directors, of senior management, or other persons or group of persons who exercises the highest level of authority in an accountable institution who must approve the RMCP. So what I would suggest is that everybody who is responsible for that go have a look at that guidance note. Then over to Lelané.
Yes, so if you look on the FIC's website, you'll find more information about that. And if you're a professional member of the FBI, you would have received my notice via the community last night. So that was hot off the press as at the 13th of February. Now, as you know, Fransha, I normally look at some international trends. So what's happening internationally in the field of financial planning? So we see a trend where more financial planners are going and doing podcasts with their clients. Some are having the guts to do maybe a bit of podcasts, but mostly podcasts. And they interviewed a few international financial planners to say, okay, what do you do when you do your podcast? And a few golden tips that they had was always make sure that you've got a very good quality mic, and then also make sure that the room lends to a podcast. But if you then do podcast, make sure that you use a green screen. But I think the bottom line that they shared with us is, upgrade as you grow in your podcast. We've certainly done that at the FBI as well. Then also an interesting thing that I saw around tech spending trends. You always want to know how much is another financial planning practice actually spending on tech. So the financial advisors are increasingly upping their tech spec in 2025, but many admit that they are not fully utilizing the tools that they already have. According to the Orion Advisor Wealth Tech Survey, 54% of advisors plan to boost their tech investment this year, which is a 19% jump from last year's 48%. The focus with tech, make sure you can personalize the financial advice and efficiency. However, the survey also found that advisors only use about 60% of their tech stack, with 38% aiming to improve on this utilization. A key challenge is integration. We all know about integration. How do you get all these systems to talk to each other, as many tools do not work seamlessly together? leading to inefficiencies. We've seen that experts suggest that firms should focus on rather optimizing existing tools rather than consistently adding new ones. Over to you.
Thank you. Then an interesting case, and not just for our financial advisors who play in the short-term space, but also if you drive a Toyota.
I do.
Yeah, so you do. So listen, Lelané. In response to a significant increase in vehicle thefts and hijackings, and we know that they love targeting models like the Toyota Hilux, the Fortuner, and the Corollas, several insurers have implemented stricter security requirements. Now, this is something that not everybody knows, and come to claim stage, you might have issues because ombudsman case for that matter. Companies such as Santam have now mandated the installation of 2 tracking devices in these high-risk vehicles. Not 2 tracking devices from the same company, 2 different tracking devices. Yep. So the rationale behind requiring these tracking devices is to counteract the criminals' advanced techniques, such as signal jamming, GPS detection. So make sure that if you are licensed for short-term insurance, or if you drive a Toyota, make sure that you have got that 2 different trackers in there, because as I said, come to claim stage, come to ombud claims, you might have an issue. Make sure that you know what's in the policy document and what your clients have to comply with. I think that's
so I'll have a look at that. So this is after my discussion with Advocate John yesterday. I went to go and visit him at the Face Ombuds offices yesterday, and he said that he's got so many cases coming through with regards to these dual tracking system. One of the other trends, maybe high level quickly, is that annuities, where the drawdown rate is much higher than the growth rate. So that's also a focus from the Ombuds office. But then also, on my side, in closing, before I hand back to Trouble, in closing, the Financial Planning Standards Board issued a press release yesterday announcing the CFP growth worldwide. So we've jumped from about 223,000 certified financial planners worldwide to about 231,000 certified financial planners globally. Now that signals about 6,800 increase in the CFP professionals, with about a 3.1% growth rate. Now you'll see in the press release that South Africa is specifically mentioned because we are over 5,000 for the first time in the history of the Financial Planning Institute. Thank you for everybody that's helping us to grow the CFP professional community, but also maintaining by renewing your membership. Nici, in closing.
Yes, in speaking about renewing your membership, keep an eye out for an email to be sent to you early next week, in which we'll highlight all the values or the value proposition and all the benefits you get by being a certified financial planner, just to make sure that you make use of all of that. So just one thing to remind everybody of, next week is budget week. If you haven't planned for it, yes, be prepared. Yep. The 20th of February, we will be hosting a free session for anyone who wants to join. Just to update us on what was said on the 19th of February, we are going to use the 2 Ronalds again. So it's Ronald, our own Ronald Matande, and Ronald King, who will be updating us from different angles, hosted by Stefan de Wet, who is a tax practitioner of high regard. So if you want to come and have a listen, register for it. It is free. Phone your friends. Let them also register for it.
Yeah, so I look forward to us unpacking the budget speech, which is on the 19th. And then the 20th, we'll have the session. Fransha, that's a wrap from Double Trouble or Trouble Double. Blessings and happy Valentine's Day. Ciao.
Bye. Francois?
Hello, Francois.
I think in the meantime, myself and Lelané will tell.
For some reason, the outro doesn't want to play. So there you go. But thank you very much. That was amazing.
Bye.
Okay, bye. Yeah, that's how it goes. I have no idea. I've been clicking and clicking and clicking and nothing is happening. So fantastic. Thank you very much, StreamYard. Anyways, ladies and gents, that was the news for you. Love the new energy. Love the new format. Just brilliant. Thank you so much, Lelané and Nici. Really appreciate it. And then next up, we have Rudolf with his first segment. I'm praying that please can Rudolf's intro play because he deserves the intro. But Rudolf is going to share a little bit today about why did he decide, because the one thing you need to know about our segments is that we find the hosts, and the hosts then decide what they want to present and what they want to call their segment, etc. So that little piece is completely owned by each host and run by each host. So his segment is called Money, Meaning, or what is it? Money, Meaning and Beyond. And he's going to share a little bit about why that's important to him, why he chose that, and what you can look forward to in this year from Rudolf. So Rudolf, hold your thumbs. Let's see if something plays. If it doesn't, I'm just going to hand over to you. But don't let that be a thing.
Good morning, Propulsion community. It's absolutely wonderful to be with you. It's an honor to be part of the show, and I'm so excited to share a little bit more about why the segment title, Money, Meaning, and Beyond. I want to start with the story, because who doesn't love a good story? I'm going to share the story, but more of the facts can probably be found in Rob Macdonald's book, The 7 Pillars of Financial Health. And in this book, he writes the story about a lady named Rose. And if you've ever been in a conversation with Rob, or you've been in one of his coaching courses, you will probably have heard the story about Rose. And that's a story that resonates with me every single time I think about it. So Rose is a lovely little old lady that is nearing the end of her professional working life. She's been working with dimension data for the absolute longest time. And cast your mind back to this being in the 90s. Now, what happened post the 90s? What happened when Y2 came knocking on our door? Well, there was a tech bubble. So Rose has a wonderful office job at Dimension Data. She is an executive assistant to one of the senior people, and she absolutely loves her job. And over the years, she's accumulated a significant amount of shares. And as the share prices have gone up, just up until the tech bubble, it created significant wealth for Rose. And Rose had a financial planner. Good on Rose. And what this financial planner spoke to Rose about was the benefit of diversification. Rose, you've got a big asset in these dimension data shares. It's time to diversify. You need to sell. It doesn't make sense having all your eggs in one basket. All of the right terminology was used. All of the cases were made. The price earnings ratio, the dividend policy, the fact sheets, the back testing, the forward testing, all of it was done and shown and put to Rose so that she can make this cognitive head shift that she needs to sell her dimension data shares because she needs to diversify. As you can imagine, Rose didn't diversify. Rose dimension data shares, that was a significant portion of her wealth. As far as I could tell from the story, the majority of her wealth came crashing down due to the tech bubble. Because dimension data shares, from what I remember, I was still in primary school, so I cannot speak to the facts of the case. I only know about the story. It obviously took a significant nosedive. And the question that I asked, and why I think Rob Macdonald told the story, was that, well, if the advice was good and sound and in the best interest of the client, why didn't Rose action the advice? Why didn't Rose cognitively realize the risk that she was facing and decide to sell her shares and diversify and protect her wealth? Well, I think this is why I came up with this segment, Money, Meaning, and Beyond. We all like to believe that we make decisions based on our cognitive abilities, but that's actually not the case. We make decisions based on our sense of well-being, our hopes and our dreams and our fears. We've got blind spots and we've got biases. And that's actually more often than not what drives our decision-making. Why don't I have a six-pack? Because cognitively, I've Googled how to get one. What I need to eat, how much I need to rest, the fact that I need to exercise and the kind of exercises I need to do. But even with all that knowledge, I don't have a six-pack. And I think the same is true for why Rose didn't diversify. And I think maybe why the advice wasn't taken from Rose provided by the financial planner, because I don't think they were able to connect the significance of the dimension data shares and why there was this innate holding onto of said share. Because upon reflection, Rose loved dimension data. Rose was just the happiest person at work. People loved her and she loved the people. They treated her well. She had a deep sense of gratitude for the opportunity, for the financial benefit, but also for the working environment. And in her mind, selling dimension data shares would not show the gratitude that she had in her heart towards the company. So from a cognitive perspective, there's a big difference between knowing something in your mind and practically feeling something in your heart, or letting it go down into your gut and say, oh, you know what? Maybe I'm not letting the company down if I sell my shares. What if there's a happy medium between those two things? So if that story resonates with you, it's probably because you have a personal client story where you've given advice that was really good. You've spoken to a client about something and you nailed it. Like, it is spot on. It made sense. On paper, nobody would be able to fault you. It's an 11 out of 10 when it comes to advice. And then what happens? The client never implements. They never sign the forms. They never get back to you. And there's just this frustration of, like, this makes so much sense. And yet you're not doing it. So maybe because you're tackling a problem that you think is cognitive, and it's actually emotional. It's actually driven by something deeper than just what is right or wrong, or what's black and white, or what's on paper, because life is rarely ever that simple. So over the coming season, I'm really excited to unpack a couple of things that I've learned on my journey of how to potentially shine a spotlight on not just the technical side of financial planning, the things that we're really good at, but maybe the personal side of financial planning that oftentimes sort of gets clients to stumble over their decisions, or that maybe hamstrings them, or maybe they just sometimes put a stick in their front wheel of the bicycle that they're cycling on. So I'm excited. It's wonderful to be as part of the PROpulsion team this year, and I can't wait to spend time with you in a couple of weeks' time.
Nice one, Rudolph. Warm welcome once again. Fantastic opening, and I think everybody's looking forward to that. You can let us know in the comments what you think. Is this something that you're looking forward to? And I'll be obviously happy to hear from you in the chat and in the comments if you are watching the recording. Righty, so next up we have Kobus with the Advisor's Path, and Kobus this morning is talking about the power of a strong value proposition in the digital age specifically. So here we go, and Kobus, over to you.
Hi, Nici. Yeah, I have this. You guys spoke about the Toyota Hilux, too many alarm systems. Every great business and profession is built on a strong value proposition. It is what sets you apart, why clients choose you, and most importantly, why they stay with you. Today, while working from anywhere from Sun City, I want to share some of my key value propositions, what my clients can always expect from me in this digital paperless world we now operate in. One of my biggest commitments to my clients is that no matter where I am, whether in an office, by the river, or right here at Sun City, they get the same level of service always. The working from anywhere mindset is about your mobility, efficiency, responsiveness, and making financial planning seamless, no matter the location. With technology, there is no waiting for in-person meetings, no lost paperwork, and no delays. If my clients need me, they don't have to wonder when I'll be available. Whether it's a WhatsApp message, an email, or quick Teams call, I'm always just a click away. Being available isn't just about responding quickly. It's about ensuring my clients always have access to the guidance they need when they need it. In a world where financial decisions can't always wait for the next scheduled meeting, my clients know they can reach me without having to jump through hoops. This is not just about convenience. It's about providing the certainty that no matter where I am, I remain fully committed to their financial journey. Gone are the days of stacks of paperwork, courier delays, and endless signatures. My approach is paperless, secure, and built for the modern world. Clients can access everything they need digitally, on demand, without the hassle of finding cabinets or misplaced documents. Think about the last time you had to search for an important document. Was it in a drawer, a folder, lost in an email chain? That frustration is exactly what my digital-first approach eliminates. With everything structured and accessible, my clients always know where to find what they need when they need it from us.
Anyway, here's some quick announcements so that we can get into the main part. Righty, so there's a few things that I want to share with you, just 3 of them. We're excited, obviously. One of the main things, and people have been messaging me and emailing me and say, Francois, when is the AI training now happening? Well, I'm very happy to say that a little bit later today, we are sending out an email where you can book for the first session. The first session will be a bit of an overview and an introduction, and then also it'll share more about what the more in-depth programs are about that we are launching as a start. And it's everything's going to be on the email. So if you're on the wait list, you're going to get that email a little bit later today. If you're not on the wait list, you're not going to hear anything from me for now. So you want to be on the wait list. There is a link on our website, propulsion.co.za. Top right, it says AI training. You can go and register your interest there. But I'm pretty sure that most of you are already on there. But you're welcome to still join. So we'll be sending that out. We'll be happy that one of the sessions is going to take place very, very soon. And then we'll also announce when the more in-depth training is also taking place. And the AI training, by the way, we've got a very particular approach to AI in the financial profession, financial advisory sort of industry, is that we're going to show you how to practically use AI to work on your business, to grow your business, to do lots of things in your business. And it's not so much only about the doing the job of a financial advisor. There will be a couple of things there as well, but it's mostly how you can work on your business, because those are the things that we never get time for. And AI is phenomenal at helping with that. We will show you, part of the entire program will be how to prompt properly, regardless of the tools that you're using. So that will be fun. Then we're also going to show you how to build your own digital team that can help and support you. We've got somebody speaking at the event that's coming up. I'll tell you about that now. I'm going to talk about how to build your own AI advisory board, is what he's calling it. So, it's powerful things that's going to be really helpful for you in your business and where you can go. Right. So that's the AI training. So we're going to send that out today. Then also next week, Rudolph and I are doing a tax space special webinar. That'll also go out today that we're going to invite you to. It's a free webinar. And you'll be able to come and see exactly sort of what are the value adds from a tax space point of view, which is our software that helps you with the tax planning part of financial advice, but loads of other things as well. But we're going to show you how this is being used practically out in the wild. How is Rudolph getting value for his clients and unlocking value for his practice from that point of view. We're going to do that. So that's going to go out today as well. And then lastly, on the 25th of March, we've got our first event, which is the AI and automation event. I'm really excited for what we're going to be doing there. So that will go out on Monday, and you'll be able to purchase tickets to attend that. If you're a Propulsion member, then you attend our events for free. So you will be just automatically registered as well. We're no longer going to ask you to register. We will just register you. If you show up, fantastic. If you don't show up, also fantastic. But that's what we're going to do. So I will share the agenda early next week. We finalized it yesterday, and it's a phenomenal agenda. I think it's very practical. It's not going to be the fluffy stuff about why is AI so cool and all that kind of stuff. We are looking at specific use cases. We are looking at how to build things. We're going to show you. We're going to demo things, and you're going to find, because it doesn't matter what session I talk about AI. present on AI, people ask me, what tools? And for me, the skills go before the tools. You've got to you first need a driver's license before you can buy a car, right? So, and then also, it doesn't matter if tomorrow I buy another car, then I still want to be able to drive that car. I don't need to go get a new license and a new thing. So that's what we're focusing on, is the skills that you need to really get the most out of AI and to reduce your risk and not to do things that you shouldn't be doing, not to use tools that you should not be using, and all of that. So yeah, it's a lot of AI stuff, but I can promise you it is business and life changing, and you don't want to miss that. So we'll send out those details as well. Alrighty, so with that, let's jump into the main part of the show, and I'm going to talk about value propositions. So probably everybody's thinking, like, François, how many times are you still going to talk about value propositions, or how many times do I still need to listen to them? And probably there's people that's not here because they think, oh, I know, I've heard everything that there is to hear about value propositions. But this is not so much about what a value proposition is and why is it important and all of those things. This is about how do you adapt and change your value proposition as you grow and as you evolve and as your business grows and evolves through time, because those things then have to change. If we don't change those, then we're going to get stuck somewhere, and somewhere we're going to find that something's not growing. And you would have heard me say last year that your business can't grow unless you do. So that is still sort of the first filter to get through. But also, client expectations are changing. They are expecting more from us, even if they don't tell us straight, and probably because we don't ask them as well. Technology is changing, the regulations are changing, tax is changing, like all these things keep changing. But if our value propositions then don't change as we evolve and as we move through, then we somewhere going to get stuck, or I don't know, even fall behind, or just feel frustrated maybe in that position. So you want to have a dynamic value proposition. And let me just say, I did say just now that I'm not going to talk about what a value proposition is, but let me just maybe, when I say the word value proposition, I don't know what comes to mind. Maybe share with me in the comments or in the chat, what do you think when you hear the word value proposition? For me, a value proposition is a couple of things all rolled into one. But I think if you go Google it, you'll probably see that it's a statement of, who you help, what you do for them, what problems you solve, and the solutions you provide. So that's sort of a statement kind of thing. But for me, it's also a promise that you make. Because if I say to you, look, we can help you with your technology and your AI, and we can't, that's not a great thing to do, right? So you want to be sure also that, if I say we can help you with your tech and AI, that you are the kind of person who needs help with their tech and AI, and that we are the people to actually help you with your tech and your AI. So exactly the same when it comes to your clients. You want to make sure that whatever you say that you do and who you do it for, the problems you solve, the solutions you provide, that one, you can do it, and two, that it's very clear who you are talking to. And that was also one of the big realizations that I had around value propositions, is that you don't only have one. Unless you have one client segment and one thing that you focus on, then you have one value proposition. But I'll even argue that in that, even though you focus on a very specific client, over time, they are, let's say, for example, you focus on mid-career professionals. At some point, they're going to get close to retirement. And if your value proposition don't evolve, like, how are you going to keep those clients? Because they will now need other kinds of services and things that you help them with. So you will naturally have to either evolve or change or do something with your value proposition. So that's just, I think, an important part to sort of depart from, if you will. So if you start thinking about, we obviously have people that are new to the profession. There are people who are sort of somewhere in the middle, and then there's people who've been around for a long time and that have a really established base. It's always interesting when we ask feedback on things. I'm really grateful for all the honest feedback and things that we get. And some people are saying, I'm not looking to grow my business. So I'm not interested in marketing my business. I'm not interested in acquiring new clients. I'm not interested in any of this. All I want to do is maintain my client base. So this has got nothing to do with marketing and growing or anything like that. It could very well be, because you might find yourself there. But this is as important, because if you want to maintain and retain clients, the value proposition better be right for them, right? So I'm going to sort of delve into, if you are new, if you sort of somewhere in the middle, and if you are a little bit more towards the end of your career, I would even say, or just very well established, and you're just looking to maintain, what are the things that you can look out for, things that you at least can consider, right? And again, if you can write just one or two things down that maybe you're going to investigate further, or that you want to implement into your business, you're going to find a lot of value there. This isn't about changing your business, from scratch. It isn't about redesigning everything from scratch. This is more about doing little tweaks so that things can become better. Right. So I think when you are new, one of the biggest challenges that I definitely found, and I've been reflecting on our business, we're 10 years old this year, and I'm thinking back, why did I struggle so much in the beginning? Right? It's because people didn't know me. There was no trust. There was no nothing there. And yet I had all this knowledge and all the skills and, all the passion and all the things in the world, but it didn't really help much, right? It's a necessity. I can't even do anything else without it. But that part around the trust, and that was so important. So initially, you want to make sure that whatever value proposition you provide to whatever clients that you decide that you want to service, and I mean, early on, we do try and say, does it have a breadth and can it pay for a policy? Let's go. and that's completely natural. You do want to make sure that you then frame your value proposition in such a way that it focuses on the fact that you now want to build trust, and that you want to, through the trust, be the way that you build your client base from that perspective. And there's obviously, there's obviously a few strategies that one can follow if this is something that you do. And just by the way, right? So let's just say, for example, that you have been around for 5 years or 6 years or 10 years even, but inherently you feel like, I don't know if my clients trust me that well, that much, or maybe just that it's not that they don't trust me, but I know there's a lot of room to build much deeper and tighter trust with my clients. Then some of these things might also be helpful for you. So the first one is obviously, and this is something that we all do, and this becomes a problem later on, by the way, just be careful. But initially, this is what you have to do, right? And this is personalized attention. So you've got to emphasize the fact that you are committed to them, that you're really looking to deeply understand them and their goals and their fears and all of the things that go with it. But it's this very personalized, very focused on the person kind of thing. And that also needs to come through in everything that you put out. So the marketing, it must be part of the value proposition. It must be very clear on your website, etc. And more importantly, so in your behavior. So the way that you show up, the way that you engage with them must show that you're giving them personalized attention, you and your team. And if you're new, you probably it's just you. But also you might be in an environment where you are new, but you have a support structure because the business is providing that to you, because you didn't start your own business. You're building your practice inside of somebody else's business. But how do you foster that personalized attention and make sure that it's consistent across you and your team? Then also another thing that's going to come back and bite you later on, but this is how we get going, right, is accessibility. So you want to highlight your availability. And also, I guess, then very much your willingness and your eagerness to guide clients. That's really important in the beginning, because that's where people pick up on, this person's really serious. They love that what they do. They really care about me, etc. But you want to guide them and you want to educate them and you want to make them feel comfortable and making sure that they're informed. So those are some of the things that is important. So first one is personalized attention. And then second one is then accessibility. And why am I saying that both of those are going to come and bite you later on is because as your client base grow, it becomes more difficult for you, the financial advisor or planner, to give personalized attention. Because if there's too many people, we just don't have the bandwidth to do that. Your team can certainly give personalized attention because that's still why you have a team. But for you specifically, so that's something that you'll have to manage somewhere down the line. But to get started, that is how the best ones all got started. So think about that. The same with the accessibility, right? I know of many financial advisors who nobody has their cell phone number. They're not reachable. They can't talk to them because they've learned that, I can't handle all of this. They've got to go through my team. But somewhere down the line, you'll be able to put a buffer in place that will be able to say, well, you used to be able to get hold of me, I've now, what are things have evolved and it's become more busy, et cetera, et cetera. So, to make things easier for you, I'm going to let you, you've got to go through whoever that person is. And some people are going to say, oh, now you've become too important, or you've become, so I'm not good enough anymore, et cetera, et cetera. But those people have got their own issues. So I wouldn't even give that 2 seconds of anything. Then obviously the other thing is that if you really want to be personalized and you want to be responsive and you want to be accessible, you've got to use modern tools. So you can't be using all outdated tools and things like that. You've got to think about what are the modern tools that are available so that you can use technology to streamline your service, to automate workflows where you can, and just to have things in place that makes everything so much easier and simpler. So that's sort of, I think, from that point of view, and maybe a very rudimentary example, right? So some of these things are really oversimplified for the show. But you could say, for example, in your if you're new and this is your value proposition, to say, well, guiding you through your financial journey with personalized strategies and modern solutions. So that could be, right? You could also build that out because who's you, right? So guiding mid-career professionals, or people with young families, or couples with young families, whatever that target audience is for you. And it's not only like, really guiding them through their financial journey, it's helping them maybe face their fears and, making sure that we remove any uncertainties and helping and improving their chance of reaching their goals and aspirations, however you want to word that, right? I'm Afrikaans, so my English isn't that great. But that's what you want to do. You want to be very specific so that somebody reads it or hears it, whatever that may be, they know, like, that's it, right? So the propulsion one, for example, let me give you an example just briefly, is that we help financial planners and their teams build their skills in their business through community. We do it through events as well as expert learning programs, practical learning programs. That's what we do, right? So simple. It's very clear who we help. It's very clear what we do. We know that sometimes skills is an easy thing to do in one sense, but building a business is not so easy. So that's the problem that we help solving. And the way that we do it is that we have an incredible community and we host some fantastic events. And then, our learning programs are practical and they get through to the point, and we don't include any fluff or anything like that. So that's it. So it could be very simple, something like that. Right. So that's for new advisors. Then for mid-career advisors, and mid-career, this is like midlife that we spoke about. Midlife is from 35 until 75. It's not from 45 to 55 like most people think. And I think mid-career, that's where you spend the majority of your time. So I think anything past 5 years until 5 years before you want to get out, that's sort of mid-career, right? So that's a very, very wide spectrum. But anyway, so when you get there, now you really, because now you've built up your knowledge and your skills, you have got a lot of business sense now. You understand how the business model works. And, there's some things that you've been doing intentionally in order to build the business. So now you sort of feel like, okay, now I'm building capacity so that I can really expand my client base and I can really expand my services. And I mean, if you're going to do that over a 10, 15, 20, 30 year period, I mean, there's lots of time to do very cool stuff over that period of time. But some strategies that you then want to do if your goal is to expand your client base and your services, etc., would be obviously specialized expertise. So now you can either decide to specialize yourself, or you can obviously bring in specialization as well. So you could recruit other specialists into your business to help with that. So that would be important. So there might be somebody who's just a short-term specialist, and somebody who's just a healthcare specialist, and an EB specialist, and a investment specialist, and an estate planning specialist, and and whatever. You could be one of those if you wanted to, or maybe you just choose to still stay generalized. But specialized expertise is usually something that attracts even more clients who have those problems, and it's often then things that you deeply enjoy doing and something that is meaningful for you and gives you a lot of satisfaction when you can help people with those problems. So the more you focus, obviously, the more that is. And sometimes, sometimes people like to focus in on specific types of clients and do everything for them. And other times people say, well, I want to focus on the thing that I do and then get clients that need that thing. Whatever the approach is that works for you, that doesn't really matter that much. Also, proven success, because now you've got a bit of a track record, right? So you want to build in and you can provide evidence of your successful client engagements and the results that you've helped them attain. And this is probably the one part that's really missing from, if you've got some form of a dashboard, if you're tracking some metrics, if you think about KPIs, or whatever you're measuring, that is one of those metrics, outcomes for clients. So we did this plan, so we know exactly where we're headed, and are we tracking for our client base, obviously on a per client level, but also from a total client base point of view, like how are they tracking towards those goals? Are they sticking to the plan? How many of them are falling off the road? How many of them are ahead of where they wanted to be? How many of them are behind of where they want to be? And who's given up maybe somewhere along the road? So that's an important one. And I don't know exactly how we will track that. I'm trying to figure that out. But that's an important metric to measure, because if those are the things that you start talking about in your marketing, those are the things that you talk about on your podcast that Lelané was referring to earlier. If those are the things that you make little videos on, that you can share with your clients, you put in your newsletter, you put it on your website. Those are things that's really, really powerful, and people can see what it is. Because one of the challenges we have in our profession is that it's very much a vitamin-based profession, right? There's very few instances where there's an immediate problem that we do something and that problem is immediately solved. Okay, there are definitely instances like that, and maybe we feel like, oh, somebody hasn't got any risk cover. That's a massive problem. I put risk cover in place and that's immediately sorted. True, but I'm more talking about the benefit for the client. Everything we do is for one day. Okay, whether that's tomorrow or whether it's 50 years from now, it's one day. So, and that's what makes it so difficult for clients, because very few people have the ability to see what things will be like somewhere in the future. The only thing that they understand is today. So we want to make sure that, how do we help them see what's possible, but also, like if it's a vitamin-based thing, what do I mean by that? Is that, it's good for you to take vitamins, but if you drink your multivitamin today, I don't know what happened to Salusa 45. I'm turning 50 and now there's no more Salusa 45. But anyway, so we've got that. And if you drink it, you don't immediately feel better. You don't feel any different, to be honest. Nothing has changed, But we know that doing that over a long period of time maybe has some benefits, and there might be people who agree or disagree. Versus I have a headache, right? And I have this pain. I've got to get rid of this pain. I've got to get rid of it now. Then you get some I don't know, Myprodols, or you get some, I don't know, Disprins or whatever it is that you drink for headaches. I don't know. But that would then solve that immediate problem that you have, which is just a symptom of some other problem, actually. But anyway, be that as it may. What I'm trying to say is that it's really important to understand that we need to educate clients along the way, because the more they know, the more knowledge they have, the more they can engage with us properly, the more they will understand the benefit of starting now versus waiting for later. All of those good things. So that's all important as part of your strategy here. So if you want to show the success, you can show more people like them who have done what you said they should do and now have, these are the benefits that they've gotten, and here's the proof. So that will also help you in your mid-career. So the more client stories you have, the more that will work for you. So it's really, really powerful. I'm not saying going out and getting testimonials and all that kind of stuff. That's also helpful. But all I'm saying is just real client, call it case studies that you can put together to really benefit from that. Right. So the other thing is then also, over time, I think initially when you start, you want to sort of limit your services. So a lot of people just start off with looking at risk and estate planning, maybe, or and estate planning is actually an advanced thing, but you just say risk planning. And then later on, they say, we also bring this in. So let me bring in a bit of investments, but only providing maybe for education, or maybe only saving for a holiday or something like that. And then later on, let's start doing retirement planning and so on and so forth. So you need to look at your client base and to see where you are and where they are going to. It's almost like seeing where the puck is going to go. So you've got to think about So this is where they are now, and this is what they need now. But what are they going to need in 5 years from now? What are they going to need 10 years from now? And already start putting those services and things in place so that you're proactive and not reactive, and that you are ready for that. And you can educate them about what's coming and where we're going, etc. So that's really important as well. You want to offer a holistic approach. And again, I just want to reiterate that holistic approach is something that is a journey. It is not a transaction, right? So sometimes we feel like every time I see a client, I've got to talk about everything. No, I don't have the bandwidth or the capacity. So you got to think about like, what is the journey, and plot out a journey and give them like a literal image, a picture of, or an illustration of what this journey is. When are we going to do what, and what needs to come first, and then second, and then third. And those things can change per client based on their priorities as well. But show them there's a journey, because now I've got a reason, right? And now we don't have review meetings anymore. Review meetings are like, why would anybody want to have those? So you want to have an annual planning meeting, because now it's about, let's plan. We need to look at what's changing. But if you just review, typically also you need to think about what is your proposition when you do offer a review, or when you do these annual planning meetings. What do they look like? Anyway, so let me not digress. So maybe a value proposition statement in this instance would be something like delivering tailored financial strategies backed by years of proven success. That's a different kind of value proposition, because one, we do specialized things, and we've got a track record that show exactly that we actually do what we promise, and do what we say we're going to do. Then for established advisors, so people who've now more towards the end of their career, or they want to maybe start thinking about selling the business or anything like that. It very much depends on what your intention is, and you've got to think about that. But one thing that you definitely want to do, I think, regardless of what your plan is that you want to make sure that you are maintaining relevance and that you're demonstrating continued value. People don't want to feel like, Francois is getting to the end. I can see this because we don't see him anymore. And, the meetings are like just very quick and let's get it over with. And in fact, he's emailing me more than he's seeing me. So, that's not what we want. Because you got to think about either, you want to keep the value maximum right to the end, or if you want to sell this, you've got to keep it there. In fact, you've got to have a little bit of an uptick if you want to really get value for it. So you've got to plan for that, and you've got to keep that in mind, right? So I think some of the strategies that one can consider is just really thinking about some really innovative solutions. Maybe we feel like, I'm 5 years left. I really don't want to rock the boat or do anything new. But you could adopt new technologies. In today's day and age, it's so easy to use technology. It's not the technology that was back in the day. We don't use the language anymore that we used to use back in the day with technology. I try and make things as simple and plain language as possible. In fact, so much so that we sometimes pee off the tech departments because of it, right? Because they've got a very particular language that they speak. They've got a very particular way of doing things. And here comes Ron. So it's easy. It's just, this is all you need to know. You don't need to know all of that other stuff. And they are not really happy with me from that, but that's okay. But all you want to do is enhance the client experience. You want to enhance the value, and you want to do things a little bit differently from what you used to do. You want to make things easier for you and for your client, right? So that's important. But also now you've got all this knowledge and all this experience behind you. So thought leadership. And even, I think a big part of thought leadership is not only now you're positioning yourself as a leader and you're positioning yourself as like, this is all the amazing things that we've done, but it's also about giving back to the profession and making sure that the next generation of advisors and planners coming through has the best possibility of success, or the highest chance of success, that we support them in ways that you wish you were supported when you started out. Because I think often in this profession today, we are very much focused on like, I had to pay with blood, sweat, and tears, and so will you. I think those days are over, and they should be over, right? Remember, there weren't many businesses back in the day, so we were all building businesses and brokerages and practices and businesses and all those kinds of things. And now we want those things to live on, right? So we want to bring people in. It's now from a business point of view. It's not only from our own personal point of view anymore. So we want to make sure that things can continue. And ultimately, it is about the client, right? So just think about that. Then also, obviously, one of the things is succession planning. And this is one of the top topics and things that people are really still saying that they want us to talk about is succession planning, legacy planning, those kinds of things. But not only from your point of view, like very much remember, if you've worked with clients now for 20, 30, 40 years, they now also in that era where they now need to start thinking about those kinds of things as well. It will be more top of mind, even though we were supposed to talk to them about all this stuff because we're doing holistic financial planning. So that's important, right? You've got to think about like when they want to transfer their wealth, how do we help them? We're going to talk a lot more about that. And then also, it's not only the intergenerational wealth transfer that everybody's not just because it's apparently so big that everybody's now talking about this, but that's always been a thing, right? So whenever wealth moves from one generation to the next, it has to be planned. And the same with you and your business. You also got to think about that. And how do you give comfort to clients that they will be okay when you decide to stop, or maybe just life decides to stop. So that's really important. So you could be saying something like, leading the way in innovative financial solutions to secure your legacy, specifically for clients. But also I think what's important during this time is to also share with them what you are doing from your business point of view to make sure that they are secure and that they will be looked after no matter what. So there's really some important aspects there to consider. I think some common pitfalls, obviously, these are all cool things to talk about, but it's probably some general common pitfalls that we can probably try to avoid. The first one is overgeneralization. You don't want to be vague. You don't want to just disappear amongst the masses, right? You want to make sure that it's specific about that specific person. And it's something that sets you apart, right? Because that's the whole purpose of a value proposition. Because if we all do the same things, we all do estate planning, we all do risk planning, we all do investment planning, retirement planning, tax planning, all of these things. But what makes you different? It's simply the way that you word what you do, who you do it for, the problems you solve, and the solutions you provide. So the way that you word it is really important. So the more clear you are on that, and by the way, that's the AI stuff. Like you will be amazed at how much that helps you with honing in this whole part of it. So we're going to teach you that for those of you who wants to join us. Anyway, so also neglecting the client perspective, right? So all of the things is that this is what I say, what we must do and what you should do. But ultimately, we should ask clients what they're looking for and what's working, what's not working. What should you stop? What do they wish you did? And to reflect a little bit around like, where are they going? Like, can we get there? Can we be proactive to get there? And also using data. We sit on so much data in our practice. Like, how are you using that? So that's really important as well. And then also stagnation. Sometimes we just feel, I don't want to rock the boat. I just want to, so you stagnate. But your client isn't ready to stagnate. So we must always remember that business is about clients. It's not about us, right? So really important. I think just to sort of maybe a final thought on all of this is that technology is literally the tool that is going to help you do more with less. It's going to make you more efficient. It will win you back time. Initially, it's going to cost you a lot of time. I've said this many times. But once it's up and running and it's fully adopted and everybody is trained, then you're going to find that it's really amazing one. I'm delivering a webinar for the FPI on Tuesday where we're looking at, using your financial planning software effectively. I'm going to look at the entire business. What are the things you need to look out for and what do you need to do? So I'm looking forward to that as well. But technology is the thing that makes the difference, right? That's what saves my business. That is what makes us do what we do at the scale at which we do it at the moment. It's just because of technology and AI from that point of view as well. So you really want to think about how you can make the most of that. So just think about, where you are in your journey. How clear are you? Do you know exactly the clients that you're serving? Do you know what their pains and needs and frustrations and hopes and dreams and all that good stuff is? And is your value proposition speaking directly to that? Your value proposition is not estate planning. It's not retirement planning. It's not investment planning. It's not risk planning. None of it, right? Your value proposition is the emotion that it creates with that client. So is it creating more uncertainty and fear, or is it giving them peace of mind and certainty in a life that is really chaotic at the moment? Yeah, lekker. Okay, so let's go through the comments quickly. Dankie, Ezra. Jy is gemute. Ek weet man, ek het dit by 'n rukkie gevat. Anyway, so thanks everyone for shouting out. I haven't got sound. When I looked down and I saw the little button was red, I'm like, come on, man, this is like the Zoom mute button. It's even worse. Anyway, so let's see what's happening. So Frank says, yeah, masterful comeback. Thank you very much. Kobus is just saying, sorry, my fellow professionals. I had concerns before the show with the Sun City broadband. Should have moved locations, but was working so well before the show. It was perfect. I even said to Kobus, don't worry, it's all good. Everything's fine. But that's how it goes, right? And that's the fun of working from anywhere and doing things that way. Frank is saying, don't worry, Kobus. Most important thing is to remain calm. It's all fine. He's also saying, I love the idea of measuring client outcomes. If we consider, for example, the difference between need and provision is either a deficit or a surplus expressed in both ZAR and percentage. So, yes, but also, I want us to sort of test a little bit about what did they feel before working with you? What did they feel while during the time that they're working with you? And just what do they feel like where they are now seeing results or seeing changes or seeing progress? Because often, like many of these things are going to be way down the line. So how do they feel now that they see progress, or how is that changing the emotions that they are feeling? Because ultimately that's what creates the experience, right? So if you look at client experience, it's very much about emotion. And it's this interplay between emotion and tension, by the way, because tension is the thing that creates action and then it leads to some form of an emotion. And it's a circular thing that goes round and round. So that's really important as well. Thanks, Frank. You've been saying a lot. So it would be a useful data set to build over time by taking annual financial needs analysis, which shows the roadmap versus the actual journey over time. Yes. And it's so easy to keep these things up to date because every time you do an annual planning meeting, you just update it, so it's an easy thing. You could also measure personal household balance sheet. Absolutely. So how is their wealth growing, right? So we do this on a per client basis. Sometimes you use something like Seed Analytics, for example. You can measure their you can see an entire picture of all of their wealth in terms of their investments, all in one consolidated view. But then also, so did that grow? Did their net worth grow? So in other words, did their assets go up and their liabilities come down? What's happening in their budget? This year, did they have a shortfall? Did they have a surplus? What's happening? So how have things changed over time? So you've got to do when you start working with clients, sort of, hey, here's our baseline. This is our peg in the ground. And then sort of let's measure this now every time that we see each other and just keep record of those things. I mean, that would be really, really incredible. One could also measure, well, I did look at that one, sorry. I am concerned about capital longevity for clients in retirement than more. And this is the thing, right? This is this one conversation. I'm over time. There's this conversation that, they need to look after themselves first, but specifically the older generation at the moment is very much about making sure that there's something left for their children to inherit. And as much as you have that conversation with them, now you've got to look after yourself first. The more they say, no, that's okay, I need. So there's different values at play here, and it makes it very difficult to have these conversations with them. But I think the thing is to have the difficult conversation. It's still the client's choice at the end of the day, but we can't ignore it, right? It's our duty to talk to them and say, we've got to make these changes. We've got to think about this. Maybe we've got to reduce income. Maybe we've got to take more risk. This is not about your children. This is about you. Because if you become a problem that your children needs to look after as well, then that maybe has a more severe impact than them not inheriting something. So it's a really important conversation. So fantastic. All righty, ladies and gents, I'm going to stop it there because otherwise I'm going to go on for the rest of the day. Thank you very much for joining us. For most of you staying here until now, I really appreciate it. Look out for the emails about the AI training, about the AI and automation event, and we look forward to seeing you there. Everything is on the website, propulsion.co.za. And I didn't even speak about the day of CPD, but that was phenomenal. But that's also the recordings are on our website. If you just go to the website recordings, you'll find it there and see what we were up to on Tuesday. But anyway, so thanks. Have a fantastic weekend. Stay safe, be blessed and prosper, and stay curious and continue to raise the bar. Love you lots. Thanks so much for being here. And let's go do some great things. Enjoy your weekend. Bye-bye.